My name is Natalie, an ordinary name, but I fell in love with an extraordinary man, Adam. We grew up together, went to school together, played together, and I thought we would live happily ever after, just like in a fairy tale. Haha, fairy tales are all lies. The day of our wedding photos, the sun was shining brightly and there were no clouds in the sky. It was a perfect day for photos. I got up early, got dressed up carefully, and arrived at the bridal shop excited. But instead of Adam, I got a WhatsApp message from him. Natalie, I'm sorry, there's been a problem at the factory. The products aren't good enough, so I have to go there right away. The wedding photos, we'll have to reschedule. Reschedule? He didn't say this. I looked at the cold words on the screen of my phone. It felt like a bucket of cold water had been poured over me from head to toe. A problem with the product. What a coincidence. On the day of the wedding photo shoot. I called him and he answered. His voice sounded a little tired, but more than anything else it was perfunctory. Natalie, be good. I'll call you later. Why don't you go home and rest? Then, without waiting for a reply, he ended the call. I stood in front of the bridal shop looking at the people coming and going, feeling like a fool. In fact, last night I already had an ominous feeling. Adam's ex-girlfriend Melinda had sent me a provocative WhatsApp message. Natalie, do you think Adam will go to take wedding photos tomorrow? At the time I ignored her and blocked her. Now I think she must have known something. I went into the bridal shop anyway. The sales assistants welcomed me warmly and helped me try on the wedding dress, put on my makeup, and do my hair. They kept telling me how pretty I looked and that I looked like a princess in the wedding dress. But what's the point of a princess without a prince? In the mirror I looked at myself in the white wedding dress and with the delicate makeup, but I couldn't hide the disappointment and confusion in my eyes. I dialed Adam's number again and again, but there was no answer. I started to feel uneasy. At that moment I got a Twitter notification on my phone. I clicked to see what it was, and it was Melinda's Twitter update. I end the photo. She was wearing a pink dress, smiling from ear to ear, snuggled in the arms of a man. That man was Adam. The background was an upscale restaurant with fancy dishes and red wine on the table. The caption read, "Thank you, dear, for spending your birthday with me. You." I felt like my heart had been squeezed hard by an invisible hand and the pain made me gasp for breath. So what he meant by, "there was a problem at the factory," was that he went to spend his ex-girlfriend's birthday with her. Adam and I really were childhood sweethearts. Our families lived across the street from each other and we were in the same classes from kindergarten to high school. When we were young he always protected me from bullies. He would share his snacks with me, help me with my homework, and play with me. I always thought that I was the most special girl in his life. Until that is Melinda came along. Melinda was Adam's classmate at university. Beautiful, from a wealthy family, lively, the kind of girl who would be the center of attention wherever she went. Adam was quickly attracted to her. They started going to classes, eating meals, and studying together a lot. Seeing them together always made me feel sad. During the summer vacation of their second year they started dating. When I found out, I felt like my world was ending. I locked myself in my room and cried for a whole day and night. I thought that if I stayed by his side he would see the good in me one day, but I was wrong. He liked dazzling girls like Melinda, not ordinary girls like me. I began to suppress my feelings and bury my love for him deep in my heart. I watched Adam's attentions to Melinda with envy and jealousy. He bought her gifts, took her on shopping trips, and surprised her with things that I couldn't do that. I just had to watch. On the eve of graduating from university, Adam's family encountered a change. His father's company went bankrupt, leaving him with a huge debt. Adam went from being a rich young master to a penniless one. Melinda broke up with him, saying, "Adam, we are not a good match. What I want is a man who can give me a privileged life, not a poor man in debt." Adam was deeply affected and spent his days drinking and feeling depressed and dispirited. I couldn't bear to see him like this. I decided not to go to study abroad and stayed with him, supporting him and helping him through the hard times. I told him, "Adam, I'm here for you. I'll always be with you until you get back on your feet." We started a business together and opened a small design company. The early days were very hard. We rented an old office and worked more than 10 hours a day, often staying up late to finish the work. I was responsible for the company's design work and its daily operations, including finance, personnel administration, and so on. I was very tired, but I never thought of giving up because I knew that Adam needed me. After several years of hard work, our company gradually grew and became successful. Adam also matured and stabilized. One day he confessed to me that he said, "Natalie, thank you for your company and support all along. Without you I could not have made it to this day. That I love you, let's get together." I hesitated, that I was afraid that this was just a dream and that he was only choosing to be with me, as he was grateful. But in the end I agreed to marry him because I loved him. After loving him for so many years I couldn't refuse him. After confirming our relationship, our feelings quickly grew. Adam was very good to me and very considerate. He would remember my birthday, take care of me when I was sick, and prepare all kinds of surprises for me. That I felt like the happiest woman in the world. However, 6 months ago Melinda suddenly returned to China. She found Adam and hinted that she wanted to get back together with him, but Adam refused, saying that he already had me and couldn't be with her again. However, I began to feel uneasy and I started to pay attention to Adam's every move. I discovered that he had started to contact Melinda frequently and even secretly met with her behind my back. Even worse, Adam had given Melinda the design for the company's new product, which I had originally been responsible for. Melinda's design completely replaced mine. I couldn't take it anymore and finally exploded. I had a huge fight with Adam. I confronted him. "Adam, what do you really mean? Are you still in love with Melinda? Do you want to get back together with her?" Adam accused me of being irrational and said that he and Melinda were just friends. He also belittled my professional abilities, saying that Melinda's design was much better than mine. Adam and I started a Cold War, and at the end of the year the company had a team building event. Everyone had a great time, but I was depressed. After the team building event, Adam drove me home and proposed to me. He took out a diamond ring and got down on one knee. He said, "Natalie, marry me. I will make you the happiest woman in the world." I looked into his eyes and felt mixed emotions. I had fantasized about this moment many times, but when it actually happened I hesitated. I wasn't sure if I could trust him. I finally said yes, hoping it was just a misunderstanding. I wanted to give him another chance, and I wanted to give myself another chance too. The night before the wedding, Melinda sent me another message on WhatsApp. This time she wasn't being provocative, she was being honest. She said, "Natalie, I'll be honest with you. Adam and I have been in contact for a long time. He has been giving me money and helping me find resources. He doesn't love you at all. He loves me. He's only with you because you're useful to him." She also told me that she had asked Adam for a large sum of money as compensation for returning to her home country. When I read Melinda's message, I felt like a joke. It turned out that Adam had been in contact with Melinda for a long time and had been paying for her all along. I always thought that I was the only one for him and the one he loved the most. In the end, I was just a tool for him to use. I felt shocked, disgusted, and deeply desperate. Melinda also made a bet with me. She bet that Adam would go to take wedding photos tomorrow, and if he did, she would never bother him again. If he didn't, she would give up and let me have Adam. I didn't reply to her because I knew I had already lost. When I got home, I felt weak and dizzy. I took my temperature and found that I had a fever. I lay down on the bed and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I received a message from Adam. "Natalie, I'm sorry, there's been a problem at work. The client is being difficult and I may not be able to make it back. Get some rest, I'll see you tomorrow." This was another excuse. This time he didn't even bother to make up a reason. Looking back, from the wait at the bridal shop to Melinda's provocations to Adam's lies, everything seemed like a carefully planned scam. I finally realized that Adam never loved me. The person he loved was always Melinda. I canceled the photo shoot because I didn't want to continue this farce of self-deception. I sent Adam a message on WhatsApp. "Let's break up." I also sent him a screenshot of Melinda's Twitter. After doing all this, I felt like I had unloaded a heavy burden and my whole body felt much lighter. I switched off my phone and threw it aside, not wanting to see any more messages from him. That night I had a nightmare. I was a little girl again. I was 8 years old and had been kidnapped by some bad men. They had locked me in a dark room and I was terrified, crying and screaming. I called out Adam's name, hoping he would come and rescue me. But he didn't appear. I woke up in a cold sweat. I opened my eyes and looked at the dark room. My heart felt cold. I knew that this time Adam really would not come to save me. The next day Adam came. He stood in front of my house and kept knocking on the door. I opened the door and looked at him coldly. He looked anxious and explained, "Natalie, let me explain. Yesterday Melinda had a car accident and I rushed over to save her. That's why I didn't go to the wedding photo shoot. I didn't mean to let you down. He denied that there was a problem with the product and began his performance. I looked at him and just felt ridiculous. Adam, why are you lying to me? Don't you think I'm the same silly Natalie? Don't you think I'll believe this nonsense? Adam was speechless when I asked him. He was furious and began to accuse me. Natalie, why are you making such a big deal out of this? I was just going to save someone's life, not go on a date with her. Why are you so angry? He took out a diamond ring from his pocket and proposed to me again. Natalie, marry me. I will treat you well and make you the happiest woman in the world. He glanced at the caller ID and his face suddenly softened. He picked up the phone and spoke softly. Hello Shishi, what's wrong? I understand. Don't worry, I'll be right there. He hung up the phone and turned to leave. I looked at his back and felt completely disheartened. I yelled at him, Adam, we've broken up. Don't you understand? Get out. I yelled at him with all my strength. Adam froze for a moment, then left angrily. I felt as if my body had been emptied of all its energy and I collapsed to the ground. My head was spinning and I felt cold all over. I tried to get up to get my medicine, but then I blacked out and fainted. When I woke up, I was already lying in a hospital bed. My good friend Mia was sitting by my bed looking worriedly at me. Mia told me that she had called 120 after I fainted and that she had taken me to the hospital. She had already called Adam, but Adam said that we had broken up and that he would not come to see me. Mia angrily said, Natalie, you are so blind. How could you fall for a scumbag like Adam? He is not worthy of you. And that Melinda is no good either. They are a pair of scumbags. I lay on the hospital bed silently weeping. I thought back to my past with Adam and my heart ached. I loved him so much that I gave up the chance to study abroad, gave up my dreams and threw myself into his career. I gave so much to him, but he treated me like this. I wept heartrendingly, crying out all the grievances and unwillingness I had felt over the years. After I was discharged from the hospital, I threw everything related to Adam into the trash. This included the gifts he gave me, the photos we took together, and the clothes he left at my place. I put all these things in a big box and threw it in the trash. I told myself that I would completely forget about him and start my life over. It wasn't long before I heard the news about Adam and Melinda. Melinda joined Adam's company as the design director, and Adam's company even announced their relationship on the official Twitter account. The company's stock price immediately rose as soon as the news broke. Mia came to visit me and asked, Natalie, are you okay? I shook my head to indicate that I was fine. I told Mia that I had let go and that I no longer loved Adam. Mia looked at me as if she didn't believe me, but she was still relieved. I opened Twitter and saw Adam and Melinda's updates. They were all over each other, going to events and partying. They looked so in love. I felt a lot of emotions, but I told myself not to think about it. I couldn't sleep that night. I decided I would get revenge. I couldn't let them off so easily. I found a private detective and asked them to investigate Adam and Melinda's past. I wanted to know when they had actually started and how much they had been hiding from me. I received a call from the company. They told me that Melinda had unilaterally abolished the company's creative department and dismissed all the employees. I immediately rushed back to the company. I found Melinda and confronted her. Melinda, why did you abolish the creative department? What right do you have to do that? Melinda looked at me with a smug smile and said, Natalie, you're no longer a shareholder of the company, so you have no right to tell me what to do. I'll tell you what. This company is now my territory. I can do whatever I want. Adam stood to the side looking at me coldly and said, Natalie, don't come to the company and cause trouble anymore. The creative department has always underperformed, so it should have been shut down a long time ago. I looked at Adam and felt a chill run down my spine. Adam, I've decided to quit the company. I'll transfer my shares to you, but you have to give me a reasonable price. Then I said to the employees in the creative department, are you willing to follow me? I'll start a new company and keep doing the things we like. Everyone in the creative department said they were willing to follow me. Natalie, don't be like this. We can run the company together and I can let you be the design director on an equal footing with Melinda. I refused. Adam, you don't have to pretend anymore. I know you don't care about me, you just want to use me. I won't give you this opportunity again. Adam was only interested in the shares I held and my connections in the design world. He was worried that if I left it would affect the company's development and his interest. He didn't really love me. That I proposed a high price for the transfer of shares and also asked Adam to pay me for my emotional distress. Adam finally agreed to my demands. He knew that if I refused to transfer my shares he would not be able to control the company. That I successfully withdrew from the company and received the compensation I was entitled to. Before leaving the company I found Melinda again. Melinda, do you think you've won? Do you think that if you get Adam you'll get everything? I'm telling you you're wrong. A man like Adam is not worth your love. The wealth he can give you can't accept. I felt a sense of satisfaction as I watched Melinda's frustrated expression. I took the staff from the creative department and joined my friend Oliver's game development team. Oliver was a senior from my university and a very talented game designer. He had always admired my design skills and had always hoped that I would join his team. We began working on a new game and I was in charge of its art. Soon the results of the private investigation agency's investigation came out. They told me that Adam and Melinda had been together since college. They broke up because Melinda resented the fact that Adam's family had fallen on hard times and could not provide her with a privileged life. However, they had never lost touch. After Melinda returned to China, Adam sent her money and helped her find resources. Adam was with me partly because I helped him and partly to make Melinda jealous. He wanted Melinda to see that he was now successful and could provide a better life for her. As I looked at the evidence from the private investigator, I felt scared. I had been living a lie. I had trusted Adam so much and loved him so much, but he had deceived and taken advantage of me. My heart ached so much that I could hardly breathe. I swore that I would make them pay. I worked even harder. I devoted all my energy and time to game development. I wanted to prove to Adam that I could do just fine without him and even better than him. My parents found out what had happened to me. They were worried about me and supported me. They told me that they would support whatever decision I made. 6 months later, our game was successfully developed. The company held a big launch event. Oliver and I went together. Halfway through the conference, Adam suddenly appeared. I looked at him and just laughed. At the conference, the host asked me, "Director Jiang, what was your inspiration for designing the characters in this game?" I smiled slightly and replied, "I get my inspiration from real life. I have met people who seem glamorous on the outside but do dishonest things on the inside. They will do anything to get what they want, even cheat, betray, and hurt the people closest to them." I used the image of these people to create the character design for the game, hoping to warn the world not to be fooled by appearances. Adam and Melinda's faces both turned ugly. After the press conference, Adam found me again and asked to meet me at a coffee shop. I refused, saying, "Adam, there is nothing more to say between us." I learned about Adam's company from my former colleagues. Adam's company was mismanaged, its performance was declining, its capital chain had broken, and it was on the verge of bankruptcy. Melinda's abilities were simply not enough to support the company's operations. The company's employees resented the two of them and left one after the other. Once our game was released, it was loved by a wide range of players. The game quickly became popular and became a phenomenal product. I, who was now rich and free, began to pursue my dream of studying abroad. 1 year later, I returned to this city. I wasn't here for Adam and I wasn't here for Melinda. I was here for an industry summit. My design company was now a leader in the industry. I was invited to give a keynote speech at the summit. I stood on the stage and looked out at the crowd. I saw Adam. He was sitting in a corner looking tired. His company had gone bankrupt. He was just an ordinary person now. I didn't look at him as I began my speech. I shared my experience as an entrepreneur, my design philosophy, and my outlook on the future. The audience clapped after I finished. After the speech, I walked off the stage. Adam came over. He looked at me with mixed emotions and said, "Natalie, you are doing well now." I looked at him calmly and said, "Adam, I have let go of the past. I hope you can let go too." Adam asked, "Natalie, can I be friends with you again?" I shook my head and said, "Adam, we're not friends anymore." I left the venue. Oliver was waiting for me outside. I knew that a new chapter in my life had begun. I was no longer the girl who had compromised for love. I had become more confident, stronger, and more independent. I had my own business, someone who loved me, and a bright future. I had let go of the past and forgiven myself. I was embracing my new life and the possibilities it offered. I knew that the road ahead was still long, but I was determined to find my own happiness.